So there you go. The Secretary of War and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff addressing an update. And what makes it different from last week is they've decided to open up the strait on the Oman side and not just say we're escorting ships, but to do an umbrella and to say, hey, these ships, and there's hundreds, they're in the Gulf right now. And when the strait is open, they have about 110 go through a day. 2 went through, took some fire, knocked it all down. Nobody hurt. Blew up 4 of the Mosquito Navy. These are like Boston whaler boats with howitzers on the front. So they took them out. But they want to demonstrate. Today's been a quieter day. They seem to want to demonstrate that you can get through, so the unarmed vessels can do their job and get in and get out.
They said that Protect Freedom is separate from Operation Epic Fury, and the goal of Project Freedom is to protect innocent commercial shipping from Iran. They say Iran is the clear aggressor, that our blockade is holding. 2 U.S. commercial ships have traveled through the Strait of Hormuz.
Hegseth going out of his way several times to explicitly say that Iran is embarrassed about those destroyers getting through the strait unscathed. So let's bring in Lucas Tomlinson live in Dubai to break down what we've just heard from the Pentagon. Hey, Lucas.
Well, good morning, Charlie. The destroyers might have made it through the Strait of Hormuz unscathed, but we learned that those destroyers did come under attack while making the voyage. All the missiles and drones fired at it were shot down. One of the biggest pieces of news we learned during this briefing is during the nearly 1-month-long ceasefire, U.S. forces came under attack more than 10 times. But General Kane, when he announced that information, said it was below major combat operations. Not clear who made that distinction. It's very notable that the general said that U.S. forces come under attack 10 times since the ceasefire. He said 9 commercial ships came under attack, 2 were seized. We also heard about this new Project Freedom, which Secretary Hegseth says is going to be, quote, separate and distinct from Epic Fury. And he said that was successful, getting those 2 U.S. flagged ships out of the Persian Gulf. It's notable, guys, there's 3 more U.S. flagged ships behind me in the Persian Gulf, and, of course, hundreds of others, including 150 oil tankers, which Secretary Hegseth said hundreds of those ships are now lining up to exit the Strait of Hormuz, not just under the cover of those destroyers we sent through, but also U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy. We heard yesterday that 6 of those small Iranian boats from its Mosquito fleet were blasted out of the water and destroyed by Army Apache gunships and Navy MH-60 Seahawk Sierra helicopters. What we also learned was that, in addition, 6 ships that tried to run the blockade were turned around. So more evidence the blockade appears to be working. Iranian ships are either stuck in port pierside or at anchor. So we did hear about the blockade. The most important piece of information is how Secretary Hegseth said that this Project Freedom to open up the strait will be separate and distinct, guys, from Epic Fury. And Secretary Hegseth says the ceasefire has not ended. And yesterday, here in the UAE, was a recipient of 15 missiles launched from Iran and 4 drones. And some of those drones got through and hit the Fujairah oil terminal. That's the Eastern Emirate along the coast of the Gulf of Oman, home to large oil terminals, and also that pipeline that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz, guys.
Was it damaged to the point where the pipeline can't be used?
It's not clear yet, Brian. That assessment is still ongoing. But the fact that some Emiratis here are pretty irked, quite frankly, that this, in their eyes, the ceasefire was broken. While the UAE wasn't a party to the ceasefire, they had not been attacked since the ceasefire went into effect nearly a month ago. So the fact that for the first time in nearly a month here in the UAE, they were the recipient. We heard some of the explosions in the distance, that we received a number of push alerts on our mobile phones warning of incoming missile attack. There's some sounds and some noise that people around here hadn't heard in nearly a month, Brian.
Lucas Tomlinson. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you so
much. And of course, UAE left OPEC, so that could be another reason Iran was angry. But it's very clear that Iran's goal, guys, is to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. So this is now another showdown between the U.S. military and Iran. The U.S. military wants to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Iran wants to keep it closed. That's why we saw the combat yesterday in the Strait.
I'll bet on us.
Thank you, Lucas.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.